Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and Phantasmal Flames is right around the corner, as in a couple of weeks away. In fact, we actually do already have some of the cards in Pokemon DG live and out and stuff with the decks. I think they're called EX Battle decks, or maybe not. I don't know the term of the decks, but regardless, the set is very much on the horizon, which is really exciting. I obviously always enjoy looking at new cards. It's my favorite thing to do in the Pokemon TCG. Honestly, I might enjoy looking at them more than I do playing them, but I always enjoy coming up with new concepts as well. So I was looking through these cards, and then I was also looking through my old decks. And I actually don't have the deck list that I was looking at. It wasn't actually really a deck list. It was just a handful of cards that I tossed into a live deck list. I was deleting lists because supposedly if you have too many deck lists, the game has substantial issues. But anyways, I was looking and I saw a really interesting Pokemon, which is Psyduck. Psyduck, not the new Psyduck that is very good, or I don't know if it's very good. It has a lot. It's very solid as a tech option against Dustmore, and can be put into a lot of different decks. Wow, this is actually a lot more than I was expecting. But yeah, it's pretty good. But no, not that Psyduck. No, I'm talking about not this Psyduck, other the Misty Psyduck, which is not called Psyduck. It's Misty's Psyduck. I played with this card. It's kind of silly, but no, it's the Psyduck from 151. Obviously, 151 has the original 151 Pokemon in it. And there's a Psyduck here, and this Psyduck has the attack Overthink, which says for one colorless during your opponent's next turn, whenever they flip a coin, you treat it as tails. This is a really unique effect. It's bad. I'm not gonna lie, it's really bad. But it is funny, and with the Phantasmal Flames, it's actually getting some really interesting ideas. So I'm just gonna quickly look here. I assume, yeah, no one's played it. Realistically, what are the use cases of this, right? Obviously, there are some cards that flip coins, but I don't think there are that many. If I look in standard, um, and cards that are competitive, and let's see, text flip, I imagine. Okay, yeah, there's Kangaskhan EX. That could be a little useful. Actually, forgot about that one. That's like a little useful. Um, there is Pheasant Nifty EX. Obviously, has flip, but not that kind of flip. It's a different one. And yeah, so pretty useless, honestly. Oh, Togekiss, yeah, it is useful against Togekiss, where you can theoretically take extra prizes. If your opponent Psyducks, you cannot. So that like does something there. The rest of these are pretty much useless. They're super niche. A lot of these are coin flip attacks on Pokemon that aren't even attacking, and also like essentially none of these cards really see that much play here. So it's very niche in that situation. It also does work with special conditions though. Well, actually no, it works with one special condition. There are three special conditions which make you flip coins. There is confusion, there is burn, and there is asleep. And asleep and burn are between turns, so it actually doesn't work there because it's not during your opponent's turn. So with confusion though, when you are confused, you flip a coin. If tails, you fail your attack, and then you do 30 to yourself. And this is, something that we do see in standard. Specifically, Monkey Dory is a good card. Its attack isn't super good. Obviously, it's there for its ability, but it definitely does have some value and is definitely used. And yeah, you'll have to deal with confusion either by switching or retreating in some form to not be confused anymore, which is generally what I do, generally what you want to do, but sometimes you'll have to flip to try to attack. So if you're able to Psyduck your opponent who's confused, then they will definitely not be able to attack unless they switch or retreat or evolve as well. But ultimately, if you can get them confused, it can be good. And my idea was to build a control deck focused around Psyduck and confuse your opponent, and then they flip tails forever, and then you win by them decking out or something. They'll actually eventually knock themselves out. As far as I'm aware, there isn't a way to repeatedly heal your opponent's active in the standard format right now. Honestly, that's like not a very common thing in general. There is Picnic Basket, but that's not going to do quite enough there. Also, there is Monkey Dory. Monkey Dory, I have the list here that I've thrown together. I don't even know if this has 60 cards in it. I don't remember. But also, and part of why I'm making this video, I threw together some stuff. It's like pretty bad. So I do need your help with this list as well. And also, this list will not be in the description because, I mean, you can't put it into live. If you do, it won't work. So, yeah, when I make this actual deck and an actual video on it, I will have the full list at that time. Obviously, it's probably not going to still be super good. But ultimately, you want to get your opponents active confused. And then, if they do Monkey Dory, I do play Shuckle to heal off of my own Pokemon, and then they'll be healed. They'll never get knocked out, which is actually good. You want to trap them forever, so that's actually not an issue for you. And regarding the Shuckle thing, you're only doing, or they're only taking 30 every turn by confusion, so then Shuckle will heal off all of the damage. But anyways, it's not really a huge deal there. I guess theoretically they could spread the damage around with Monkey Doors, but anyways. It's an interesting idea, and Confusion has had pretty bad support in Standard, but with Phantasmal Flames, there's a few new Confusion cards. In fact, one that I actually don't have in the list. There's three. Mainly, the first one here is going to be Bramblegast. Bramblegast just has this ability when you play it from your hand to evolve. When your Pokemon, your opponent's active, is now confused. This is like pretty simple, straightforward. I can't imagine it's really seen play in Japan. Yeah, it's a bit of a commitment for this pretty underwhelming effect, but it does what we're looking for in this stack. It's a pretty good way to get your opponent's active confused. If it was the only way, then it might work. It might get the job done, but it's not. It's not perfect there. Then there is also going to be the new Mismagius EX. This is a really interesting card that could be its own deck build around. It actually has some strengths with confusion, because it says if it's in the active, then if one of your opponent's active moves to the bench, their new active is now confused. This is specifically useful. You could use it with Iron Bundle to just make them confused, but it's specifically useful if they are if they have a way to switch to the bench, such as Latias EX for free retreat or Pekron EX, and then their new active is going to be confused, because they're just never going to be able to escape it using the switching there, which is interesting, unless they gust around you, I guess. So it's not perfect. I do have two copies of it in the list. I'm actually not super sure how good it is, but it seems like a decent way to confuse. I'll talk about the gusting options. I could put an Iron Bundle. Iron Bundle actually seems kind of good. But anyways, we do have that as well. And then an interesting thing there with Mismagius and the new Bramblegast, which has an on-play ability here. You can reuse it using a Strange Timepiece, which is an item letting you evolve one of your Psychic Pokemon that's evolved, returning the evolution to your hand, or any number, I guess. This card is actually playable with Alakazam. It's not super good with it. Actually, it's pretty decent with Alakazam, but anyways, Alakazam's not that good. But you can also pair it with this Mismagius as well as the Bramblegast. So this one, when you play it, you get 2 movement energy from your opponent's active to one of their bench Pokemon, which seems kind of fun. Don't know if it's particularly good, but I like the idea of Mismagius and the Bramblegast both getting value out of the Strange Timepiece card there. Then there's also going to be Lisi's Appeal. This is a Gusting card, so it will confuse with Mismagius EX, but also just confuses anyway. It gusts a basic, then you confuse it. This has seen a little bit of play in some stall-based decks, and apparently someone playing a Joltik box. Ultimately, it's useful for the confusion to potentially disrupt your opponent's Pokemon. Obviously, it can't gust evolutions, which is bad, right? You want to be able to gust those. Confusion's generally not going to be that valuable. But if you are just gusting basics, confusion is going to be objectively like a good thing there. So it has some reason to be played. It's not just a worse boss, but I mean, it mostly is a worse boss. But here it's not, because you really want the confusion. But we do still play one boss to gust evolutions and a counter catcher. Not super sure on the gusting count. As I said, this is more of a rough idea here. But then we also play here another new card, or we have 2 new cards outside of those as well. We have the new stadium here. This is Battle Coliseum, preventing damage counters being placed on bench Pokemon, both yours and your opponents, by effects of abilities and attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. This is useful against Dragapult EX, potentially that Monkey Dory thing, though probably not. They could just go after your active. And then also there is Dusknoir as well. I don't actually know how good it is. It's not here specifically for our game plan. It's like, counter to those things, as well as Psyduck. Psyduck here is also this Psyduck, not the Confusion Coin Flip Tails Psyduck, is obviously a counter to the Dusknoir there. Then we do have another new card that I don't have in the list, but that is not here. Where is that card? Here it is. It is the stadium here, which is Dizzying Valley. Each Pokemon that is confused does not recover from special conditions, from that special condition when they evolve or devolve. Super niche. Like, who's playing this card? I can't imagine it's seen any play, because it's really niche, right? I don't even have it in the list here because I can choose what I'm confusing for the most part, and like they're only going to be able to evolve once. Well, no, I guess they could evolve twice, and they could have different Pokemon that evolve, but they're not evolving that often compared to like other forms of switching. So I feel like it's pretty niche. It can be bumped. It just feels really niche. I'm not gonna lie, but it is an interesting little card there for confusion. Then, yeah, this is the last new card in the list here. This is a card that I don't know if it fits super well. It's probably the card I'm most excited for from the new set, though. It's a really interesting card here in Heat Burner, which you need to discard a basic fire from your hand to use this card, which discards a tool, special energy, or stadium in play. The stadium can be yours, the other ones can't. But why would you be trying to discard your own tools or special energy? There are situations, but they're really niche. And in this list, I don't think those situations would really ever arise. But it seems like an interesting little card that is able to remove cards from your opponent's side of the board. It doesn't seem crazy, but it seems nice for a control style deck especially, so I like it. Obviously, Psyduck is a color synergy here, so you can use it there. And then I do play 7 energies and 3 night stretchers. The night stretchers are here to recover Psyduck mainly, as well as our fires for Heat Burner. But the Luminuses here can be used on Psyduck, but can also be used on the Shuckle for those healing situations, and Ethan Sudowoodo, specifically if your opponent's playing Lottie SEX. Confusion does not stop retreating. I didn't say it explicitly yet, but yeah, it does not stop it. Sleep and Paralysis do. Some people think that Confusion does as well, but no, it doesn't. So if your opponent's playing Lottie SEX, which at first I was thinking, Pekron EX is bad, which it is for this deck. Not in general. It's a good card in general, but it's bad for this deck. And then Lottie SEX, though, is also still a very big issue, and that's played a lot more. And, I could probably say, like, oh, if I just see Pekron EX, it's a loss. It is what it is. I can't say the same thing about Latias. If it's Pekron, it is what it is. Though it's not great having auto losses there, which I think it's still pretty rough. You can use the Mismagius EX, but then your opponent has the opportunity to flip there, and also it's a two-prizer, and there's just a lot of issues with it. But then Ethan Sudowoodo here is useful for trapping Lottie SEX. I was just thinking about it. As I said, I've been working on this list. Yeah, you can't actually attack with Mismagius EX either in this list, because Luminous can be the Psychic, but it can't be both Psychics, because if you attach both, then they are now neither of them are working. So maybe I'll put in a basic Psychic or something. I'm not sure. As I said, I haven't thought this out super well so far, but I really would appreciate feedback in the comments. I don't know if it's going to get to a decent deck. I have a feeling it won't, unfortunately, but if it would, that'd be really cool here. Then the last piece of the puzzle is going to be Spidops EX. This card says that if it's in the active, your points retreat cost is 1 colorless more, and you can attack with it as well, I guess. It's not super good, except against, it's a one-shot Charizard. Yeah, it does with the increased retreat cost. If they had air ballooned it, you wouldn't actually one-shot it there. And also if they had HP buffs, I believe you wouldn't one-shot it, but ultimately, or it would depend on the HP buffs. Anyways, Spidops is here to increase retreat cost. The idea here is going to be to trap some Pokemon in the active, right? I don't actually know how useful this strategy is going to be. With Ethan Sudowoodo trapping something in the active, they can't retreat. Spidops, they can. The idea here is if, they play a bunch of Air Balloon in, say, Goldengo EX, right? They slap their Air Balloon on their Genesect EX, then it goes from 2 retreat to 0 retreat, but then with Spidops, it still goes back up there. It's not completely free, unlike Latias EX, where it is completely free. Spidops is not doing anything to that. If you use it on like Genesect with an air balloon, it will be useful there and can potentially let you win games in that way. I suppose if you're stopping and retreating, like Ethan Sudowoodo would also be doing that. The upside with the Spidops stopping from retreating is you can actually Psyduck there, right? The goal is to have a Psyduck deck. And if your opponent doesn't have that much switching, which a lot of decks don't, then you just go and you hit them with Confusion, and then you say they always flip tails, and then they are never able to attack, which is really good. Obviously, I imagine you've played against Confusion in Standard, and I've heard a lot of comments saying that Confusion is really disruptive on Munkidori, and yeah, it is annoying there, but it's not the main game plan. But if you're always being hit by it, always being pressured by Overthink, I think there is something there. But tell me down below in the comment section what your thoughts are on this list. I know it's bad, I know that, but any suggestions to improve it? If there's anything here that could actually legitimately be really good, but I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff, and as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.